listen-only mode.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dolf Dielen. I'm the director of the ARENA Innovation and Technology Center in Bonn. Thank you very much for joining this webinar today. The purpose is threefold. First of all, to provide you an update where we are on the analysis of REMAP, so the progress that we have made since the assembly. Second, we want to use this as an opportunity to prepare the discussion on REMAP at the Council in Abu Dhabi that will take place on the 24th of June. And third, this is a first opportunity also to discuss next steps in the REMAP analysis. The analysis, the request for this analysis came from the assembly. So we had a presentation at the assembly, and the request was to explore the consequences of the aspirational objective of doubling the global renewable energy share. So that objective resulted from the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. So that was started by the Secretary General of the United Nations, and that's now evolving into the decade of sustainable energy for all. One of the main purposes of this REMAP project is to inform the ARENA work program development. So based on comprehensive objective analysis of what are the opportunities for renewables and what are the needs and gaps to put that into practice, we can develop a work program with a sound scientific basis. The REMAP analysis can also inform the Sustainable Energy for All initiative, which is now chaired by the UN Secretary General and the President of the World Bank. And for example, it can be used to identify new high impact opportunity areas which are currently under development. The output will be a report, and that report is scheduled for the assembly in January 2014. Now already we have a large number of findings, country reports and sectoral analysis, and we plan to make these also available. So, but the idea is not to have a huge report, but a comprehensive document, and then the additional information will be available on the website. This group, so of the Secretariat and interested member countries and their experts, can also be the basis for a global network to assess renewable energy strategies, and that is something that we could further refine in the coming years. So there is this political objective of doubling the global renewable energy share, but it's not yet very clear what that means for countries, sectors and technologies. So the purpose of REMAP is to assess these dimensions in greater detail. Part of that is how significant is the gap between the business as usual scenario with policies, established policies, and where we want to be if we want to achieve that that doubling. So we'll look into the technology options, their cost, and their investment implications. And of course, we're not only interested in cost, but also in benefits. So it's important to find that, to assess that balance. The focus for the time being is on renewable energy, but there's also two other objectives, one for energy access and one for energy efficiency. And there are important interactions, so we will also look into these interactions. And finally, and perhaps most importantly for you, is given this potential that we assess, what would be needed, what are the policy needs to make this really happen, to put it into practice. The analysis is set up in a way that we at the Secretariat do a first a zero-order analysis, and then we start a dialogue and refine it further in cooperation with country focal points and experts. We decided to start with 24 countries, and these countries cover 3/4 of global energy use in 2030. And these countries are listed here. They're shown in two colors. The ones in black are the ones where we have started an analysis and we have a zero-order draft ready or very close to completion. The red ones are countries where we still have to start the analysis, and we hope to do so in the coming weeks. The result of that analysis is a write-up consisting of about 10 to 20 pages that is country-specific. And the list of countries is still evolving, and more countries may be added depending on interest and resource availability. I should also say that we have already received significant voluntary contributions from Japan, and a similar, and also a significant contribution from Germany is coming. So thank you very much for that, and of course we would welcome further contributions so we can expand the analysis further. The country analysis will be supplemented with regional analysis as to get to a complete global picture of what the renewable transition potentials are. And we will start that regional analysis after the Council. Now, this is a practical overview where we have listed the countries and indicated the responsible IRENA analyst in the Secretariat. So we will make these slides available after the webinar. So these are the people you can contact if you want more information regarding your specific country analysis. So the next two columns indicate in green the countries where we have a zero-order draft ready, in yellow where it's near completion, and in the column with the country focal points, so in green indicates that we have focal points and experts nominated, yellow is we have advanced discussions, and white is that we need further discussions too. You see a number of countries in this list which are not yet IRENA members. So there is Canada, there's Brazil, Canada, China, Indonesia, and Russia. So we have also started now a dialogue with the governments and experts from these countries. So we hope that through this process we can also interest them more in the IRENA work. So we have country analysis, and we also have sector analysis. And the sector analysis informs the country analysis. We're working on cities, manufacturing industry, and transport sector studies. For industry, we have a draft roadmap ready and a detailed consultants report on the potentials in the manufacturing industry. That report is currently under peer review. And also we have presented draft results at a meeting of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development in April. There is a report, a short paper that accompanies that presentation, and we will make that paper available. For cities, we have had in total now 3 workshops on renewables in cities. The last one took place recently on the 3rd of June here in Bonn. And we will also, we're currently drafting the proceedings of that workshop. And then finally for transport, we have developed a report on the cost of renewable energy solutions for transport with a focus on biofuels and electric vehicles for the road transportation. The plan is to release that report by the end of June. So that's now with the printer. So these 3 sectoral analyses will inform the country analysis. And of course, apart from these 3, in January we launched the report on cost of renewables for power generation. And also we're working on a roadmap for grids for renewable power integration and on electricity storage as an enabling technology. An important aspect of the methodology is the accounting framework. We, together with a number of other parties, we have prepared a global tracking framework for the 3 Sustainable Energy for All objectives. And that was launched at the Vienna Energy Forum in May. That accounting framework says that we focus on total final energy consumption, and we use 2010 as a reference year. In 2010, the choice for 2010 is new, and in 2010 the share of renewables in total final energy consumption was 18%, but I'll come to a little bit more detail in a minute. So what we do is, based on this accounting methodology, we assess what happens in a reference scenario with policies in place or very likely to come in place in the coming years. And we do that based on country information. So we've asked you to provide us information on your latest energy scenarios. And next we assess what could be done on top of that reference scenario. So we look at technology options, we assess their potentials and their cost, and we look at what that option would substitute. And we found out that you can do that cost analysis in different ways, and we have developed 2 sets of cost curves. One where we look into local cost and price factors. That means including all forms of taxes and subsidies. So In some countries, fossil fuels are subsidized. In other countries, renewables are subsidized or are exempt from, for example, biofuels exempt from excise taxes. So we account for these factors, and also we look into the local cost of capital, which vary quite a lot between countries. Second, we do a standardized comparison where we use no taxes and subsidies, and we assume a 10% cost of capital. Now, the way the analysis is set up, it's easy to change factors and to do sensitivity analysis, for example, with a 5% discount rate, if that would interest you. We deliberately do not develop a new scenario, but a cost curve. And we hope that way we avoid the impression that we are trying to set targets or provide the basis for setting targets. The cost curve ranks the options in order of increasing cost, and it's up to the country to say, well, we like option 1, 2, 3, or perhaps something else. The cost curve ranks the options in order of increasing cost, and each option on the x-axis, the width is proportional to the potential, and the y-axis is the cost compared to the reference scenario. Now, for that purpose, we have developed an Excel accounting framework. We will make that tool available. In some cases, you have already received the first draft, but the goal is that by time of the Council, all engaged countries have received the draft. That tool helps to create a reference scenario with for the years 2020 and 2030, and it contains country-specific information on commodity, technology cost, and performance criteria. For example, the capacity factor for wind will be higher in a country where there is a lot of wind. Also, the user of the tool can define what technology is being substituted that is being substituted. Now, as I said earlier, the objective is rather vague when you start to think about it. A doubling of the renewable energy share, and there's no specific reference to a base year or what exactly do we mean by renewable. So we had quite some discussions on that. For the global tracking framework, we've landed on a reference year 2010. It covers all 6 types of renewable energy where also IRENA is engaged. Energy use is measured, and the share of renewables is measured, which is not energy use of oil, gas and coal for plastics and, for example, asphalts, is not included in total energy use. Now, if you use these definitions, then in 2010, half of all renewable energy use was traditional biomass and half was modern renewables, so each around 9%. Total 18%, if you double 18%, you end up with 36%. We think that 36% is a very high objective, and we've had quite some discussions on the wording around that. For example, now it states specifically that we need to be clearer on whether we're doubling all renewables or just modern renewables or sustainable renewables. So as a consequence, you can consider the 36% as the upper limit for 2030. We analyzed baseline developments, so business as usual scenarios, and our conclusion is that we'll get to around 21% in 2030. So there is a gap, a significant gap, between this 21% and the 36% where we want to be. And the purpose of REMAP is to come with ideas how that gap could be filled and what the consequences are. Now, this graph shows you today's energy use and projections for 2030. And what it shows is the use of renewables in 2011. So there was 15.1 exajoule of electricity produced from renewable sources. There was 13.6 exajoule of heat produced from renewable sources, 90% of that being biomass heat. 3.8 exajoule of transportation fuels, biotransportation fuels. And then there was 30 exajoule of traditional biomass, giving a total of more than 60 exajoule of renewables in 2011. So if you compare that with 334 exajoule of total final energy consumption, you get to a renewable share of 18.7%. And in fact, the bulk of that was biomass. And I think that is an important insight, because that means that so far the focus has been mainly on electricity generation for renewables, but in fact today the use of biomass as a source of renewable energy is much more significant. And that may also be the case in the future. Biomass in heat and in transportation may remain a key option, especially in the end-use sectors. So business as usual, 2030, if you just look at renewables and you take the new policy scenario from the IEA, you get to 98.2 exajoule of renewables in 2030, but that would be 23.1% of renewables. However, at the same time, there are these two other objectives of global access and doubling of global energy efficiency improvements. And if you account with, so we see a rapid uptake of renewables in power generation. Business as usual has 10,000 terawatt hours of renewable power in 2030, about a third of all power generation. And in terms of capacity, the growth is even more impressive. But the main challenge is in the end-use sectors. So buildings, manufacturing industry, and transport. And these are areas where policy must focus more if we want to reach that aspirational target. We also find that the development of renewables in different countries is very different. So we really need a targeted country approach. You cannot say there is a one-fits-all solution. And also, if we want to reach the doubling objective, we will need new technology solutions. So even the business as usual assumptions for some countries are already certainly ambitious. So how to fill the gap? We did a report of the technical potentials that was launched in January after the assembly, and that is also available from the website. And we continue our work on technology briefs. So we launched 10 of them at the assembly, and there's another 15 in preparation, near completion. So that is the type of information, apart from the sectoral studies, that informs the country analysis. So the renewable energy potential varies by country and by sector. Technology learning is key to increase the potential. For example, higher wind turbines result in higher capacity factors and in more wind production per square kilometer. And at the same time, technology learning reduces the cost per unit of energy generated. We need more renewables in power and in end-use sectors. So you cannot do it by just focusing on either the supply side or the demand side. You need to look at both. Biomass is key, and a combination of renewable energy and energy efficiency makes it considerably easier to reach the target, because a lower energy demand in absolute terms makes that it's easier to meet the target. We're also looking at more emerging options, for example in the area of electric vehicles. Also seasonal storage of heat and cold, and we try to find other new technology options. But it's important to keep in mind that we're already in 2013, so 2030 is only 17 years away. So it's difficult to have a significant impact with an emerging technology at such a short time range. Now here is an example of sectoral analysis. So you'll find this curve in this WBCSD report I mentioned. This is for the manufacturing industry, and it shows the potential for renewables in this sector, which uses today around 8–9% renewable energy. We think that there is a cost-effective potential up to 30–35% in 2030, but that assumes that there are two key conditions for that. First of all, that there is a lot of low-cost biomass available, and second, that there would be a significant CO2 price. So if you take these two assumptions out, then you get first to the red curve and then to the green curve. And so the potential for renewables in this sector is reduced significantly if these two conditions are not met. So it's not only a discussion about technology, but you also need to look in into the policy environment in which this assessment takes place. Now, this is an example. This is a real example of a cost curve for a country. We have prepared 4 curves for each country, or we plan to prepare 4 curves for each country. one with the local cost factors and one with the standardized cost factors. And then these two are shown with a different breakdown. One's with a breakdown by a renewable resource, so wind, biomass, etc. And once it's shown with a breakdown by sector of application. That's what you see at the bottom right. So power, industry, building, transportation. So what this curve shows, the curve on the top left, is first of all the development in the reference scenario. That is the blue area, which takes us to a certain percentage of renewables. And so that is our starting point, and then we show the cost effectiveness of doing additional renewables. So it starts with options with a low, in fact with a cost saving, and then as the share of renewables increases, the cost also increase, and then you get to options with significant additional cost. And we have indicated here also the technology option. So this is the curve with local cost factors. You see it goes from -25 to +15. And this is the curve where the same technology options are assessed with standardized cost factors. And you see that the costs are now going from -12 to +20. So it gives you very different cost results if you change the costing methodology. And through that spreadsheet, it's able to make sure that all the assumptions are consistent, and it allows you to do sensitivity analysis, as I mentioned earlier. So the next steps in the country dialogue, a number of countries have already received a zero-order draft. We hope to send out more of these country analysis in the coming days and weeks. We'll send the write-up and the spreadsheet around to the country experts, the specific country experts. So before this is shared with any other country, we want to make sure that the country itself is in agreement with the analysis. We want to have a dialogue with the country experts that can be either a conference call or maybe a workshop in the country, whatever works best for you and whatever we can manage, because it's not trivial for 24 countries. We plan to have these dialogues between July and September. During the summer, we will also complete the sectoral analysis, and then from July to October, we will work on the assessment of the benefits. And target is to have a draft roadmap ready in time for the council. Well, I put November here, but I think it's December, in fact. So this brings me to the questions where we would very much welcome your input. Which aspects of what I have presented to you today should be highlighted in the council discussion of REMAP 24 June? Then I showed you which indicators for transition we plan to analyze. Are these the indicators that are of your main interest, or are there other aspects that would have your priority? And finally, you have now an idea of where we will be with the REMAP analysis by the end of 2013, and at the Council we will also have the discussion about 2014 and 15 work program. We suggest to continue REMAP in the coming years, but we need your guidance how you want where you want us to focus. We can add more countries, we can add more technologies or more detail in the existing country analysis. We can look at the interaction with efficiency and access, a longer time horizon, or perhaps nexus issues. So there's many dimensions in which you could refine this analysis. This completes my presentation. If you have any questions, then I suggest type them down now. The other option is that you let us know in the coming 2 days as we prepare for the Council. I just got information that we have received a number of questions, and I'll now go through these questions and try to answer them. If you have additional questions, please send them in. They're very helpful for us. There was, first of all, a question: what if my country is not in the initial list? If that is the case and you are interested that we add your country to the analysis, then please let us know. Obviously, we will do our best to include it. Obviously, we have limitations how many countries we can analyze this year. But if it's not possible this year, then perhaps we can take it to the next year. And of course, we can make the REMAP tool available to you, so your experts can already make a start with the analysis, and we'll try to assist that as much as possible. Also, as I mentioned earlier, apart from the country analysis, we are planning regional analysis, and that is another opportunity to engage with the analysis if your country is not, if you don't manage to do the analysis for your country this year. Second question was how to contact IRENA if I have a question. We have created an email address. This address is remap@irena.org. Of course, you can also send an email either to one of the colleagues, the names I showed you earlier, or to myself. And finally, you can always contact your country REMAP coordinators or your focal points. A third question was, can I get a training tool on REMAP? The answer is yes. We have developed the Excel spreadsheet, and that comes with a manual and a description of the methodology and with cost assumptions. So we can make these materials and the spreadsheet available to you. And we can also organize a webinar to provide you detailed instruction how to use these tools. A fourth question is, how is a reference scenario created? Where possible, we try to avoid creating a scenario. We take guidance from existing national reference scenarios. However, we found in a number of cases that the existing scenarios were already more than 5 years old and clearly not in line with the data for 2011 or 2012. Or we found a whole range of scenarios, and it was not clear to us which one we should pick as the official government scenario. So where that was the case, we made a choice, but if you think that another one should have priority, then please let us know. Then will the presentation be available for internal discussion? Yes, we will send the presentation to all the participants in the webinar today, and also if you need any of the other materials which I mentioned, please let us know and we can make them available to you. These were all questions, all very good questions. So we will use them as we prepare for the Council. As said, if you have further thoughts, please let us know, either in the coming days or at the Council. We will intensify the dialogue in the coming days. A number of you will receive an email with draft results. And I hope we can make this into a fruitful process that is of use to you. Also, let us know if you find this webinar format useful. What we can do, for example, is that every month we organize a webinar like this to update you on the progress. So with that, I would like to close down this webinar. As said, thank you very much.